What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Dad Does Videos, coming at you today from my driveway, where I wanted to show you what is inside this hit run steel baseball softball pitchback. So this is one of those nets where you can throw a baseball or a softball or tennis ball or whatever against it and it bounces back to you. So we've had this old one, you can probably barely see it in the background over this way, and it's old and cheap and pretty much rusted out. So we thought we'd order this new one. This one, I think it was like a little more than $100 off of Amazon. I'll put a link to it in the description, but thought we'd invite you in and show you the unboxing, the building, and then how it compares to the one in back of me that is about on its way out. So let's get into this. Netting, it looks like, and then a bunch of the pipes that we'll have to fit together. Looks like some brackets here. So it looks like we've got some directions in here. So we'll check these out, start putting this together. Okay, so here's a first look at step one. As you can see here, we've got attach all frame poles flat on ground together until they click. So I'm gonna lay mine out just like this, just to make sure we're in good shape, and then we'll give you a shot of what that looks like before we click them together. Okay, so we've got the frame of the net all set up and ready to attach. So a couple little pointers here as you get started. So these pieces that are in the middle right here, you have two what look like identical ones. There's kind of a left and a right one. You'll want to make sure that the handle, the black handle here, is facing up, as you can see here, and then there's one that goes in like this, as you can see, and then there's one on the other side that points in. Also, another thing to keep in mind here, these, I guess, L-shaped poles here, we've got, what, 1, 2 here, 3, 4, 5, 6, they're not all the same. What you want to have at the top of your net are the elbows that don't have any buttons on it. So as you can see here, this is one with two just holes in it without the silver buttons. So there's a hole right here, and on the other side, there's a hole right there, and a hole right there. But the ones below, you can see these have the buttons on them. This is going to be important later on because they only fit this way. As you can see on the bottom left here, we've got the ones with the buttons as well. So speaking of connecting the different poles here, it's pretty simple. You just grab one, here's the button, you just press down on it and slide it in to the spot until the button pops up through the hole, just like that. You're just going to do that the whole way around. Okay, so we've got the frame set up and complete. Right now we're going to move along to step number 2. And here we go. We're going to stand that frame upright and tighten the handles on legs to hold in place. Of course, I'm missing one of those little black things on the bottom of my net. Okay, so we've got the frame of the net all stood up. We're going to be putting the net on the frame here shortly. But I wanted to show you a little tip about how to adjust the angle of the net. Okay, so the key here are these knobs. So to move the angle of the net, you simply unscrew until on the back of them, so we can move around this way. As you can see, I unscrewed enough right here, and it might need a little bit more. So you can see there that then this hinge will adjust. So I'm going to do both sides and show you what I mean. So as you can see here, we previously had each side on the third hole, I guess from the top. Wheel around here and show you that as well. So what we're going to do is just simply move it now that both knobs have loosened enough so that it'll allow the frame to go back and forth. We're going to put them in the fourth one from the top. So I thought I'd let you take a broader view of what happens when we do that. So this simply moves up a little bit, the other side as well. And then once I got the knob in place with the fourth hole, I simply screw it back in. And then go to the other side and do exactly the same. And then the net is in a new position for us. All right, so we're moving along to step 3, and as you can see here, this is where we secure the net to the frame, starting at all the corners. So when you start to apply the net, you're gonna see some little hooks, and you can barely see them in this drawing. So what you're gonna do is you could kind of make out down here is you're gonna secure the hooks to kind of the back inner lining of the net. So let me show you what that looks like. So here's what the net looks like when I've got part of the top on. And what I mean by those hooks going back and securing to the inner lining. So you'll see the hooks right here. As you can see, you just simply hook these to the back of the net where this stronger piece of rope goes all the way around. Okay, so we have installed the net on the frame, and just a couple tips here. One of which, and it says it in the directions, but sometimes people don't follow that, is much easier to install this when you go around the corners first and attach the hooks to that rope on the back around the corners. And then secondly, make sure you have another set of hands with you. It gets a little tricky when you're trying to get those last 3 or 4 hooks on, and you really need a little help. One person to grab the hook and the other person to kind of push the rope in place. And what I mean by that is this. So you'll get to a point at the end here where it's really challenging to pull this hook over the bar and then push this rope up at the same time. So I would suggest having one person try to push the hook down and the other person try to push the rope up. But this is what it should look like from the back. We're gonna move on to the next step. Okay, step 4 here, as you can see here, attaching the bungees to the net and the sides of the frame. You can see here it says we're recommended to do 10 on the sides and 6 on the top and bottom. So I've gotten 6 on top, and let me show you what those look like right now. And let me show you how to progress through putting one of these bungees on, because the directions here really don't do a good job. Okay, as you can see here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bungees on the top. And let me show you how to install one of these. Okay, let me show you how this works. So you start with the end of the bungee that has what looks like duct tape on it, and put it through just like this. Get the hook, it goes in the middle of the 2 ropes, pull it all the way through, and then sometimes it's helpful to have a friend, because then the friend can push the rope in like that, and then you've got your bungee attached. Okay, so we've got all the bungees on all the way around. Give you a shot of the back too. As you can see, it is a lot of work. So I'm hoping you had a friend with you to help you out. Okay, so we already went through the first part of step 5, as I showed you earlier, how to adjust the frame of the net. So we're just going to move on to the second part here, and we're just going to take that nylon, that orange nylon that came with the net, and weave it in and out of each string to create a strike zone. Okay, so we've got our strike zone set up, and I didn't mention this before, but what's nice about this is that there is some Velcro, so I can get a shot here on the back. So these just Velcro together, so you don't have to worry about taping it or anything like that. So we're now going to do a little demo, see how strong this one is and how well performing this one is versus the one that is about cashed out. All right, so now we're gonna demo these. You can see the one on the left, that's the new one we just built. The one on the right is like 3 or 4 years old. And we've got this kid over here who's gonna show us how this works. So go ahead. So weak, right back. And let's try another one. Way more power back. New one is way better. Thanks for watching, everybody.